exposed to the sun is what? Yang. Am I clear? See, whenever I say am I clear, you should raise your thumb like this, right? Ahmedabad, am I clear? Raise your thumb, yes. Asan, am I clear? Yes. Next slide. So yin yang is a summary of the distribution of two opposite aspects of correlative things. I already explained you there are only two basic energies in the world. One is yang, one is yin. So whatever is exposed, whichever comes from the heaven, whichever is exposed to the body is yang, and which is inner part is yin. If you classify two energies into yang fu organs, means in the organ, those organs which work regularly are yang organs, and those who do not work regularly are yin organs. Now those who work regularly, continuously, like heart is totally beating, cut, it is yin organ. And those who are working for a time being and sitting at home, for example, a male person goes to office. He works in the office but come home and take rest. So that is what? A yang energy, yang organ. That means it is a stomach. You eat food, it digests it, and it quips up. So that is the another part if we explain it. So when we speak about this area, we have to understand the basic theory is dependence. So one has to be dependent on the other. If you are, yin has to depend on yang and yang has to depend on yin. So this is the basic nature of human life, that only the combination of two gives a life. One is male energy, one is female energy. One has to work continuously and one has to defend the body. So when we speak in the summary of explanation, the existence of things comes from the whole universe, and the whole universe is only comprised of two, and that is called the Adi Shiv Shakti. Shiv means male and Shakti means female. The combination of two is only the existence of acupuncture theory and the foundation of acupuncture. And this is where we call it's the foundation. If you understand this, you understand thousands of theories in acupuncture. TCM takes water and fire as a symbol of yin energy. So when you take as a symbol of yin, you take water, and when you take the symbol of yang, it takes the fire. Now, what are the qualities of yin and yang? See, whatever is hot and warm belongs to yang. Brightness, yang. Excitement, yang. Whatever is hard is yang. And whichever is flares up, external, motions and formless is yang. Now, if you see the opposite part, something which is cool, when the patient is feeling too much cool, you will see the patient having low back pain, having lot of cold feet. That means what? The excess of yin energy in the body or deficiency of yin energy in the body. Whenever you see some deficiencies, you will see certain qualities of yin. Whenever you see certain qualities of yang, you will find these qualities in the patient. A patient is known by two things. One is yang and one is yin. So you have to classify which quality he is possessing right now. Whether he falls in a yang disease, he falls in a yin disease. For example, if I see sunstroke, is what? Yang. So whatever is acute is yang. For example, I was injured, trauma injury, it becomes a yang. But when the trauma injury goes in a deeper level, it becomes what? Yin. So whatever is yang, it is warm, hot, bright, excitement, flare up, and it flares up very quickly. You can see, for example, some spots in the body, red spots. Very fast you will see it flares up. And it goes towards upward direction. Many diseases you will see which goes upward direction is a part of yang energy. But whereas if we see in yin, cool and cold, you will find that the patient is cool. Lot of coldness you will find means thanda milega. You will find lot of dampness in his body. And then you will see it flows down, stillness, foam, all these qualities you will find in the patient suffering from yin, and this is the quality of yang. So whenever you find a disease, you will have to classify it into yang or yin. Then you will have to understand it is excess of yang or deficiency of yin that will come in pathogen of the area. But for now we have to understand two things. One is yang, one is yin. So yang as something which you goes towards the sun, external is yang, and whatever is in night is yin. So very simple. Whatever you see in the day is yang, whatever you see in the night is yin. So I have already said you one is to oppose the other. You will see male is very different from the female, and female is very different from the male. So this is what we have said. In nature also, heaven and earth. So heaven is external, earth is interior. So that we have to understand. The energy coming from heaven is yang, and which converts to on the earth is yin. So it says that at the top. At the top is yang. Whatever comes from here is yang, and whatever comes from the feet is yin. So even when you see the meridians, you will see those meridians which starts from one is at the feet is what? Yin, and those who one starts from forehead or from the hands, it is what? Yang. For example, if you see lung starts from here, it's yin or yang? It's yin. Two quality. One, it continuously works. So it comes like this, it comes from earth. The hands are like this. So it's towards the earth. So from earth to heaven, up, in. But from stomach, goes from here to down. It is what? Yang. So whatever goes from up to down is yang, and whatever goes from down to up, it is what? Yin. So in 12 meridians, in which 3 in the hand is yang, 3 in the hand is yin. How to classify? Very simple. Here is the hand, here you see 3, which is non-exposed to the sun, which is non-color, is brighter color is yin, and those who are exposed to sun, that is gray skin or black skin, it is yang. So whatever comes to this side is yang, whatever comes to this side is what? Yin. Whatever comes from heaven is yang, whatever goes from earth is yang. Yin. And one thing we must understand, one is to exist with the other. You cannot exist without yin. If you remove your heart, you will die. But if you remove stomach, who will get energy to the stomach? So male has to earn the energy for the female, and female has to run the body. So one is to exist with the other. Nothing exists without each other. So if you see, yang has to transform into yin, and yin has to be transformed into yang. So that is another process, but it will speak in details, and you will know that inter-transformation of energy is always there. A yang energy is to transform into yin, and yin energy is to be transformed into what? Yeah. That you will understand in the coming chapters. So you have to say, it is believed that the positive and the negative aspects of a thing are both opposite to and dependent on each other. So they are called, see, one thing we must understand, they are all opposite to each other. You cannot say one is not opposite to each other. Yin is totally opposite of yang, and yang is totally opposite of yin. Male is male, female is female. They cannot be one. So we must understand a house is built only by a mutual harmony between yang and yin. If husband and wife is properly behaved in a family, I think the family is having harmony. If there is a misunderstanding between the husband and wife, you suffer from a disease, that is disharmony, and lot of chaos is there. So now if you see how you classify it into TCM, that is traditional Chinese medicine. Yang means what? Upper. I told you. Yin means lower, opposite. Position. Then comes what? Exterior. Whatever is exterior. This is what? Exterior. This is what? Interior. Interior. You understood? Everyone understood? Raise your thumb. Raja Pratap, you understood what am I speaking? Raise your thumb. Biju, you understood? Yes. Jalil, you understood what did I speak right now? Raise your hand. Abdul Jalil. Hamkar, did you understand what I spoke? Honey? Honey, did you understand what I spoke? Raise your hand, honey. Hanumant, raise your hand. So, when we classify it into organs, what are young organs? Those who are fu organs are called young organs, and those who are in organs are called zeng organs. So, whenever we see the external organs which work periodically are fu organs, and those who work continuously are called zeng organs. And so, similarly, the meridians, those which faces the sun is what? Young meridians, and those faces the interior area is called the in meridian. For example, this is lung, pericardium, and heart. This is facing the internal area. It is called what? In. And this, yeah, very simple. Young, in, young, young, in. Very simple. Young, in, young. You understood? In, young. Young, in. So this is first. Young, in. Finish. So those organs which work periodically, like stomach, small intestines, they work periodically. So they are what? Fu organs. But those organs like heart, lung, pericardium, they work continuously. Yes or no? So those organs which are like who work continuously are called interior organs, and those who work externally are called exterior organs. Those who face the sun are the fu organs, and those who face the darker part are the zeng organs who work continuously and who are protected by fu organs. So similarly, those organs which are connected to fu organs or who are in the exterior area are young organs. Those who are interior and those who are internally like heart, lung, pericardium, or in stomach or in the leg also, if you see lung, spleen, kidney, those who are continuously in the body. For example, spleen, kidney, and liver. So spleen, kidney, liver, they are what? Very simple. In organs. They continuously work. So those organs which continuously work are this one. So whenever we see a disease, we must understand a simple phenomenon, excess and deficiency. So if there is more than, so anything which is, there are only two things, excess and deficiency. So if it is excess, you have to sedate, means you have to reduce, and those who are in, if it is less, you have to increase. So this is two factors. One is you have to increase, one you have to decrease. Now what do you mean by increase and decrease? For example, I am hyper. How will you reduce? By putting some calm down, calm down. Please. So this is called what? Reduction. It is called what? Sedate. I'm like this. This is what? Deficiency. So when there is a deficiency, you have to increase, you have to boost up. The acupuncture, if in TCM, has one more theory which we will understand now, is excessive and deficiency. If there is anything which is excess in the body, you reduce it, and if anything which is deficient, you increase it. That is called tonify and sedate. You want to sedate, you go opposite to the flow, and if you want to tonify, you go with the flow. Am I correct? So you can see excessive or yang and in. So this part we are very much clear here, that the world consists of two things: yin energy, yang energy. Yin is internal, yang is external. Those organs which are connected to yang are fu organs, and those who are connected to yin organs are what? Zeng organs. So those organs which work continuously belongs to Zeng, and those who work periodically. Periodically means khana khaya, you had your food digested, and now the work of the stomach is over. So those organs which work periodically are called Zeng organs, and those organs which continuously work like a lady are called yin organs. So one part of the chapter is over, the first chapter. Now comes the second chapter, pathology. दूसरा लो. नहीं नहीं चाहिए पैथोजन. Yeah. So one chapter is over. Now we'll come directly to the pathogens. So when we say about pathogenesis, we understand the basic factor of the disease, pathophysiology. It's okay, no need to see me. Hear me. Koshit, you can hear me. No need to see me. You have seen me many times. Slides you can see? You can see the slides? Raise your hands if you can see the slides. Yeah. Slides you can see? Show your thumb. If you can see the slides, Koshit, show me your thumb. Ashan, you can see the slides? Show me your thumb. Harish Babu, okay, you can see the slides? Show me your thumb. So pathogenesis means the creation of a disease. How diseases are created, how things are created. Nothing can be stopped like this. Everything is created in this world. Everything is created by something or the other. And whatever is created in this world is called a reason, a creation. And that is called pathogenesis of pathophysiology. So when we see pathogenesis, we have to understand how things are created in the body. The creation of disease is the part of pathogenesis. Next. So when we see disease is created, it develops and it flares up. So that is what we say cancer is created. First cancer is created, then it develops and then it spreads. So same thing you can understand pathogenesis means creation of a disease, development of a disease and transfer of a disease. And so when we say we'll understand the occurrence, development and transference of the disease and flaring up of a disease to different bodies. So when the theory of pathogenesis is concerned, we have to understand the three things. We have to understand occurrence, development and transfer of the disease in this body. So when we see the basic pathogenesis, it is classified into how many aspects? It is classified into 5 aspects. The basic law of the occurrence, development and changes of disease integratedly can be generalized into the following 5 classifications. So pathogenesis in TCM is comprised of only how much classification? Is comprised of only what? 5 classification. What is pathogenesis? Pathogenesis is a creation of a disease, development of a disease and spreading of a disease. Am I right? Now comes second part. How many part this pathogenesis can be classified? It can be classified into 5 aspects. How many aspects? 5. So what are these 5 aspects? We'll see it right now. So most important part is that the predominance or decline of pathogenic. See what we say that the defeat of the body. So defeat of the body means that defensive Q has energy has to be reduced in the body. So whenever the defense of the body is reduced, the disease starts up. And that is the first part of the classification. Predominance and decline of the pathogenic, or you can see that defensive or healthy energy. Whatever is the healthy energy, it has to decline. The moment the healthy energy declines, disease starts up. The first part is decline of the healthy energy. Second, I told you how the trouble starts in a family. Disharmony between the yin and yang. For example, you keep sleeping for keep working for the whole night. After a whole night working, you will see lot of disease comes in the body. Why? Because the yin consumes the yang. So there is a disharmony. The wife fights with the husband, husband fights with the wife. So whenever there is a fight between each other, I think Ahmedabad knows they fight with their husband every day. So whenever you fight with the husband every day, there is a disharmony. TCM also says, don't fight. You also, Hassan, do not fight with your wife. Otherwise, there is a problem, disease in the family. Kushit, you are not married, okay, but Harish Babu, you should remember, don't fight with your wife. Otherwise, there will be disharmony in the family. So, yin and yang disharmony creates a disease. Don't fight with your wife. TCM says that. Disharmony of Q and blood. Yes, this is very important. The disharmony between the energy and the blood transmission. The blood has to transfer from one energy play area to the other. But how it is transferred? It is transferred with the help of the energy. So if there is no proper energy, the lack of transference of the blood or lack of supply of the blood in that particular area creates another type of problem. And that is also a creation of what? Disease. So we have to understand same thing, decline of the healthy Q, energy, yin and yang and deficiency, and disharmony of the Q and blood. That is blood and energy. If they say disharmony, again I told you that if you say the origin factor, disharmony between the yin and the yang. If there is a disharmony between the blood and the energy, you will see, for example, if you examine a patient, a chronic patient, you will see a lot of blue color veins or red color veins in his body. So what will you understand? Stagnation. So that stagnation comes from this area, this harmony of Q and what? Q means energy, right? And whenever there is a deficiency or disharmony between the energy and the blood, you suffer from what? Disease. And you will see, you treat a lot of patients, cut, no relief. But the moment you bleed the blue color veins or the red color veins, which are like spider veins, you just bleed them, click, 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 and you see next day, 90% of the pain is reduced. So that is another thing which you have to understand. Metabolic disorders of the body fluids, we already know that whenever there is a metabolic disorder in the body fluids, you suffer from what? Disease. And 5 endogenous pathogenic factors, which will explain you in details. So when we speak about the decline of pathogenic healthy Q, you will see onset of the disease, the starting of the disease. Then comes the deficient and excessive changes of the disease. So you will see the deficient and excessive changes of disease. You will see a lot of changes comes in the body. For example, in the fever, you will see morning there is a high fever, in the evening the fever reduces, and afternoon again you will see some disease. Some deficient and excessive changes you will find. Means instability, like a ECG graph. Sometimes the disease is high, sometimes it is low. For example, you will see low back pain very high at night. In morning time, there is no pain. So that also you will understand that the healthy Q of the body has been degenerated. The development of disease, you will understand 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equal to what? 10. So first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage. So these are the stages of the disease, and then comes our symptoms, what you say, disease outcome. So whenever there is in energy deficiency, you consume lot of yin of the kidney, you see lot of low back pain. But the pain is a symptom of the deficiency of the kidney. If you reduce the Q of the kidney, the pain of the low back pain subsides. So that one point is enough to recover a disease, but that point has to be perfect, and that perfectness will come from this theory, that you will must understand how a disease is created. It is excessive, or it goes from excessive to deficient changes, sometimes high, sometimes low, and then it comes to a development area, how it develops inside. Pura chakra view, it's a chakra view inside, and from that development comes the disease outcome. It is a form of a disease. This is a disease. It is low back pain, sleep disc, fever, typhoid, malaria, all these are disease. But before becoming a disease, what you see and what you see as symptom, You have to understand how this was developed in the body. And that are called the root causes of the disease. Once you understand the root cause, you understand the disease. Oh, Ahmedabad, talking to whom? I am in the class. No moving here and there. It does not mean that you are sitting at home and I will not see you. So when you see excess and deficiency, you see predominance of the pathogenic cue. Pathogenic means the disease energy, diseased energy. See, energy is, healthy energy is also there, diseased energy is also there. So whenever you understand, see, energy is, I told you now, one negative energy, one positive energy. So negative energy is what? Pathogenic energy. Everything is energy. One is Ram, one is Ravan. So this is Ravan. Ravan is also energy, Ram is also energy. So you can understand a series of excessive symptoms. It occurs early or middle stage of the exogenous endogenous disease with a short course. So whenever you see this type of disease, you will understand that predominance manifestation. You will understand one thing is that at the middle stage or exogenous endogenous disease with a short duration, that is we call acute disease. Acute means it has just occurred, like fever and all, they have just occurred. So they are called excess. Whenever the energy is excess, you will find this type of symptoms because they are acute. Acute means just occurred. Anything which is before 6 months, it is say acute, and after 6 months, it says chronic. So whatever it is acute, you can understand it's a part of excess. And whenever it becomes in chronic area, it goes to deficiency. For example, low back pain occurred for more than 6 months, it becomes because of the deficiency. But if it becomes suddenly, you must understand that there might be something called excess. So that has to be diagnosed whether the disease is because of the excess of energy or it is because of the deficiency of energy. See, and I have told you one thing, either there are only two things, excess, deficiency, high, low, great, small. So there are only two things, opposite. Now you have to understand in disease, diagnosing a disease, it is because of excess of energy or it is because of what? Deficiency of energy. So it is commonly seen in advanced stage of exogenous disease or various chronic or with a long course. I told you. So whatever which is chronic is because of deficiency, which is acute is because of excess. So whenever I say deficiency or excess in complicity, it refers to a pathological condition in which the struggle between the healthy and pathogenic cue leads to the coexistence. I already told you there are two diseases. Whenever Ravan becomes heavy in the body, Ravan means an diseased cue or pathogenic cue becomes heavy in the body, you will see what? Excess, the symptoms of excess. So you will see deficiency complicated by excess and excess complicated by deficiency. It is very important thing. What did I say? One thing I told you. See, there is two things. Deficiency complicated by excess. So whenever the young consumes the yin, this occurs. Whenever young is high, it consumes what? Yin. So whenever yin is consumed by the young, deficiency occurs. And whenever yin consumes the young, deficiency excess occurs. So when deficiency is complicated by excess, you should understand young is consuming yin. And when excess complicated by deficiency means if the deficiency is consumed, then what? In consumes yang, yang consumes in. So one thing you should understand, let us understand very simply that if there is an organ, whether yin or yang, consumes each other, you suffer from a disease. So it can be because of two reasons. One, whichever is excess, if it consumes the other, you suffer from a disease. Even yin can be excess, it consumes the yang. And if yang is excess, it consumes the yin. So if one consumes the other, there are two energies only, right? So one consumes the other. So deficiency complicated by excess. So whenever there is something excess, it consumes the other. Means if I want to rule something, I have to reduce the opposition party to the minority. So the ruling party, very simple. Excess creates deficiency and deficiency creates excess. Right? So if we explain it more simply, for example, let us take it. I'll explain you in a better way. Let us come to the next slide. So you can see predominance means what? Existence of insufficient healthy Q is complicated by excess of pathogenic Q. So whenever there is excess of pathogenic Q, you will see there is complicated by excess. Excess means high. See, here I will make it more simple than this slide. If we see this, we should understand one simple factor, that one consumes the other. Whoever is high will consume the weaker area. For example, sometimes heart is dominated by the wind. So what do we say? The minister dominates the king. Or water dominates the king. Heart is what? King, right? So sometimes when the emperor is dominated by the minister, you see what? Excess complicated by deficiency. And when you see king rules the minister, it becomes excess complicated by deficiency. Very simple. One consumes the other. If you consume it, very simple definition. One consumes the other. Whoever is high, he consumes the low, and whoever is low, who consumes the high. Consumption of yin in yang and yang in yin. Finished. So now if you see, if it refers to a pathologic conversion between deficiency and excess, which is the result of impairment of healthy Q due to retention of pathogens. See, for example, I'm going in a windy side, right? And this wind has entered my body, excess wind has entered my body through the pores of the skin. Now, because of this, we have not removed the cause of the disease, that is the wind. We just treated the fever. For example, I am suffering from heavy fever, and I treated it by antipyretics like paracetamol 500 milligram, antibiotics and all I have given. After some time, you will see the patient is suffering from other complications. And it is because of this. The retention of pathogen or accumulation of pathogen or excessive pathogens inside the body is again creates a disease. So let us understand very simple. Staying of pathogen in the body for a longer duration of time creates more complications. Simple. That means what? Now, whatever was excess has converted to deficiency and excess resulted into One, let us understand very simply in yin and yang. Whatever was excess, when it comes to down, you see in yang and yang symbol, at the higher level there is high, right? And it comes to low. So whatever was high, it is converted to low, and whatever is low is converted to high. It is the nature of, it's a law of nature. So whenever we see conversion of excess into deficiency and excess resulted in from deficiency. So one thing we should be very clear in deficiency and excess is the impairment of healthy due to retention of pathogens. So whenever any pathogenic factor, that is 5 pathogens, 6 evils we call it, 6 evils. So whenever these evils are present in the body in heavy quantity, then there is a result of what? Deficiency of healthy Q. Because whenever Ravan is high, it is Kali Yuga. So whenever you see the enemy is high, the healthy energy disperses. And because of this dispersion, healthy Q in that, whenever there is a healthy energy, whenever there is goodness disappears in the earth, you create a lot of problems in the body, in the earth, and this disharmony is called a disease. So whenever goodness disappears and whenever sadness occurs, it is what? It's a development of a disease, and it is because of deficiency in healthy energy. So you will see excess syndrome, healthy Q injured by exuberant pathogenic Q, delayed or improper treatment. See, one thing you should understand, whenever healthy energy is disturbed by negative energy, now we'll consider pathogenic energy will consider as negative energy and healthy energy as positive energy. So whenever there is a positive energy is disturbed by a negative energy, you create a lot of disease, and when this treatment is delayed or improper, the diseases flares up. So always try to understand. If you want to treat a disease, you must remove the pathogen, the reason of the disease, the cause of the disease. It is not the osteoarthritis you have to treat. You have to treat the cause of the disease. And you have to remove those pathogens from the body for which this disease was created. And if you are able to do, you can save lakhs of lives in this whole universe, because it is the cause which creates a disease, and it is that if you treat the cause, the disease is gone. And whatever was injured during this part of the disease, during the healing process, all those organs and whatever was disharmony, we have to settle it down. And this settlement of internal disharmony is called what? Acupuncture. Acupuncture is nothing but the settlement of all this syndrome. Excess, deficiency, this, that, creating harmony inside the body is acupuncture. And that is why it is said acupuncture is the biggest counselor of the world. It represents the God, because God's representative only can create harmony. And that is why it says TCM is the only subject which says create harmony inside the body and the disease will go away. The same thing. So now you see one more important thing one must understand. Whatever symptoms we see, they may not be the original symptoms. That may be falsifications of the symptom, because whenever you see a disease, a cause is created and the energy of the body, defense energy of the body also fights. Whenever there is a fight between the disease and the body, the outcome is the symptom. So whenever you may see the symptom, it may not be the correct symptom. It may be the different symptoms, because it is between the fight of the body. Your internet connection is unstable. खत्म हो गया क्या? See, very simple. Domination of healthy Q with decline of pathogenic Q means what? Now, positive energy has to dominate the negative energy. Withdrawal of what should be your goal of the treatment? The goal of the treatment should be, first of all, the healthy energy has to dominate the negative energy. this negative energy has to be withdrawn from the body. And whenever, whatever insufficiencies are there because of this in the body, you have to recover that. Very simple.
Right.
Whatever is positive has to fight the negative. Whatever harm the negative energy has done, first of all, dominate the negative. Then you have to withdraw the negative area. There is energy from the body. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Slide to change. So when, see, very simple. Whenever there is a healthy energy, it has to, your goal of treatment should be very important. You have to boost the internal immunity, first to dominate the negative energy, then to remove the negative energy, and then after removing, you have to create an internal defense of the body, and then repairing of the body, whatever damage of the pathogen was done, it has to be repaired. So it's a process and it takes time to recover a patient. You cannot recover a patient in one day because you cannot do all these factors. You may relieve the symptoms, but when you come to the treatment of a body, you must understand that whatever harm was done to the body has to be repaired. How? First of all, the positive energy has to dominate the what? Negative energy. Then you have to remove the negative energy from that area, and then whatever was harm done by the negative energy, you have to repair it. Very simple. 3 factors: dominate, removal, and repair. Understood? 3 classification. What? Dominacy. First, healthy energy has to dominate the negative energy. Correct? This negative energy has to be removed. That is the pathogen. And third, what? Repairing. Whatever harm was done, now repair it. That is the cause of the disease has been recovered. This is what our goal should be. Am I clear to everyone? Raise your hands. Am I clear to everyone? Ahmedabad, you are clear? Am I going too fast? Am I going too fast? If yes, then
Sir, sir, can you repeat this one, last one?
Am I going too fast? Am I going too fast? If yes, then raise your thumb like this, and if no, then do it like this. My speed is okay? Mohammed, Ashan, speed is okay?
Okay, okay.
See, now comes this predominance of yin or yang. So, I already explained you, one has to predominate the other. What was predominated? So, predominance of the yin or yang. I already explained you, one has to dominate the other. So, decline of yin or yang. That also you understood. If one is excess, one has to decline. There cannot be harmony. Whenever there is a disease, there is what? Very simple. One has to be excess, one has to be low. One has to be high, one has to be less. So there might be decline of yin or yang. Now called mutual impairment of yin and yang. Yes. Impairment means what? Some type of, what will you say? Disharmony. One cannot be coordinated to the other. Same disharmony between the yin and yang. Mutual rejection of yin and yang. This is very important. You will learn that yin rejects the yang rejects the yin. And that is called the occurrence of the death pulse. Whenever you will see a pulse is, man is about to die, you will see a pulse near the end of the sternum. And a typical type of pulse you will feel, and that is called the occurrence of the death pulse. If this pulse, if you see, that means you should understand in separation of yin and yang has occurred in the body. It is generally found in a cancerous last stage or a patient about to die. You can see this area. When my father was, whenever he was about to die, Just 3 days back, I saw that death pulse is occurred, and then I said he's about to die in 72 hours. So it is very important. Mutual rejection of yin and yang is the last part, and exhaustion of yin and yang, and that whenever this yin and yang is exhausted, you see the patient dies. This is the occurrence of death pulse, and this is the death. One must understand the progression of the disease. Disease also progresses like this: the occurrence of the death pulse to the occurrence of the decline of yin and yang, mutual impairment of yin and yang, fight among the yin and yang. Then comes they reject each other, and then they get exhausted because one cannot exist without the other. Since they are no more each other, the husband is also sad, wife is also sad, both are depressed, and both does suicide, and that is the end of life. So you can see how the beginning of disease is the death of life is this. If you understand this factor, you can understand the progression of the disease. If you understand the progression of the disease, you can work with lot of internal medicines of the subject. This internal medicine, only you will explain it by disease. Am I correct? Am I correct? Ahmedabad? नहीं समझ में आया? हाँ? कुछ को समझा? Did you understand? Yes. Go more, you will learn more. In दूसरा slide क्यों नहीं आ रहा? I have already explained you all this. So I have explained you this. Now you understand what I explained. Predominance of yang. Whenever there is a body predominance of yang, you will see what? Excessive heat syndromes. For example, fever, body is heat. So you will see whenever yang pathogens are high, that is heat and all other factors comprised of yang pathogens. Yang means what? Heat, fire. Whenever you say fire is high, patient will feel what? He wants to drink more water. You'll find excessive heat syndromes. And yang is excess leads to weakness of yin. So what does do? Yang consumes the what? Yin. So if yang consumes yin becomes what? Weak. So in this patient, you will see they are very short-tempered, their eyes are red, and they flares up very angrily. You will see these people are having high blood pressure. And then it becomes a chronic disease, and then consumption, rejection, lot of things happens in the body. And whenever you see predominance of excessive cold syndrome, you see the hands and feet are cold, and here you will see the excess in consumes the yang. What did I explain? One will consume the other. So it is said very simple. To maintain harmony, you must have balance. You should not consume others' food. You should not mesh up with your wife. To mesh up, problems will create. So better surrender. Create harmony. Don't fight. Fight. So whenever we see, whenever this occurs in the body, lot of metabolic changes happens in the body. For example, whenever you have suffered from diabetes, you suffer from lot of metabolic changes inside the body. Deficiencies of organs comes, this, that, this, that. So whenever you stabilize the patient by balancing the energy, access into balance and deficiency also in this. So tonify the deficiency and create the access. So if you bring both the balance, your disease is recovered. Very simple. And if this balance is not there, it will keep consuming each other. One day they will be in dominancy, they will fight, and then the disease is over. Similarly, you will see if yin consumes yang, you will see a lot of things in the body, and the patient is totally like fatigue syndrome. You will see he is consuming lot of heat, he needs a lot of cold drink. I have seen a patient who drank around 12 cups to 14 cups of tea in a body. She used to feel very cold. And even in the hot days, she used to take what? Blankets. When the temperature outside is 40 to 45, she used to wear jackets. And then you will see this type of stuff. You will see all the patients having. In the heat days, in Tamil Nadu also I saw. In my own body I saw when I did not sleep for many days. I used to take one jacket. All these people were feeling heat, I was feeling cold. That means one, in consumed my yang. So whenever you see the factors of yin inside the body, you should understand the yang is consumed. Whenever you see the factors of yang inside the body, yin is consumed. Next. All this is I told you. This also I told you. In impairment of involving yang, a morbid condition in which consumption of yin essence affects the yang Q. I told you, yin consumes the yang and yang consumes the yin. So when you do, and then there's inadequate production of the production of yang Q. There is yang energy in the body is inadequate at this moment. So impairment means what? Yang, because of the disharmony between yang and yin is consumed, yang is consumed by the yin, and there is lack of production of the opposite energy. For example, whenever there is yin impairment involving yang, you will understand a very simple thing: yang has consumed the yin, and because of this consumption, inadequate production of excess of yang. Now you will see a lot of things in that area. This is not required for us. So you will see whenever there is extreme heat inside, you will see high fever, red complexion, hoarseness, dysphoria, red tongue, rapid, large, forceful pulse that you will see, and that is called the true heat. So whenever there are extreme young heat, it stagnates inside the body. Whenever the heat is stagnant, means when the heat does not come outside from the body, your fever, you will see the symptoms, following symptoms: high fever, red complication, hoarse breath, dysphonia, red tongue, and all this you can see. Whenever there is extreme heat inside, you will see these symptoms. False phenomenon, you will see cold extremities but not relieved by clothes and quilts. So what is the symptom? You will see that the patient is having cold extremities, means hand and feet are cold, but he is not relieved by what? Clothes or quilts, means blankets and all. If you put on his body, she is not relieved. It is called what? False cold. It is extreme cold. Whenever extreme heat is right the body, false cold appears, and this false cold is this. In a critical stage of collapse due to massive loss of yang Q in a short time or sudden several visceral failure is a massive loss of yang Q due to failure of healthy Q. Same thing I have said you. You will see profuse sweating, excessive vomiting, diarrhea, chronic consumption of disease, and that you will see. We will explain you when we speak about the disease. So one thing you have to understand: phase to ascend and descend. Reverse flow of energy is also there. Q is sinking. I told you, blockage, prostration, and stagnation. So you can see there are two things: reverse flow of energy. It is sinking, it is blocked, prostration and stagnation. क्या हुआ लोगों को कुछ आ नहीं रहा? वीडियोस नहीं आ रहा, कोई का बेचारा नहीं आ
नहीं आ रहा है तो फिर बोलो और आगे आगे उसमें सर वो सब आपका ऑडियो सिंथेसिस बीच बीच में ये होता रहता है।
रहा।
सब सब मामला
So you can see various factors here. There is a reverse flow of Q. There is another biggest difficulty in treating a disease. Q is sinking, energy is sinking, blockage of the energy, blockage of the prostration, and the stagnation. So stagnant energy also you will see how to treat the stagnant energy, how to remove the blockages, how to remove the prostration, and how to remove the sinkingness of the body. So whenever we say about the disorders of the blood, is the blood deficiency, blood stasis, hemorrhage, blood heat, and blood cold. So whenever you see blood deficiency, you will see lack of fall down of the hemoglobin in the body. Blood stasis, I told you, whenever you see spider veins and all this, you see the stasis of the blood. And until unless you break the stasis, means the blockage of the blood, will not recover. Hemorrhage means internal bleeding. Because of the heat, you will see pipe bleeding, GI bleeding, bleeding in the piles, and all these things, whichever you see, because of excessive heat, you will see blood hemorrhage is there, including paramacular hemorrhage. It is in the bleeding inside the eye. Also, you will see in this factor, that is because of the disorders of blood. Blood heat, you will see, and the blood cold also you will see. So in many cases, you will see the head is excessively sweating and it is high heated. So it will call it blood heat. And whenever you will see lot of coldness is there inside the body, lot of factors you will see, and it becomes a part of blood cold. But we'll go with explanations. So we already said you, whenever the blood does not, if the organ does not get sufficient energy, nutrition with the supply of the from the supply of the blood, you suffer from what? Deficiencies. And so you suffer from a disease because of the disorder of the blood. It is because of the deficiencies of blood. It is because of, for example, if you are too weak, you consume, you do not take enough food, or you take this heavy bleeding inside the body, or because of any other factor, you suffer from a different disease or excessive anxiety. So you suffer from what? Blood deficiency. So what will you see? This type of body has pale or yellow complexion, light colored tongue, lip and nails, listless, lack of strength, vertigo, tinnitus, dry eyes, blurred vision, numbness of hands and feet, thin pulse, etc. So this type of thing you will see in this type of disease. So insufficiency of blood and it declines nourish factor you will see. Blood deficiency leads to this, and the symptoms you will see is pale or yellow complexion, light or colored tongue, lip or nails you will see, uh, restlessness in the lack of strength, vertigo. Whenever you see types of people having lot of vertigo, tinnitus means a voice hearing in the nose, continuous hearing of voice inside the ears. Dry eyes, you will see many eyes which do not, it's a disease inside the eye, and many times you will see the tears are not coming down from the eyes. So you will see blurred vision means what? Your eyes are not clear. Numbness of hands and feet. You will see in many cases of PIVD, slip disc, you will find a lot of numbness of hands and feet, and then you will see the pulse is very thin. So these things you have understood almost. I told you excessive discharge of the blood from the body, hemorrhages, blood heat. See, whenever there is excessive heat inside the body, there is the abnormal flow of the blood. So whenever it refers to a pathological change characterized by accelerated or abnormal flow of blood resulting from the heat in the blood phase. So whenever there is an excessive pathogenic heat inside the body, there is a lack of flow in the blood, and because of this lack of flow in the blood, you suffer from many diseases which is called blood heat. You will see the symptoms: red complexion of and eyes, fever aggravated at night, dry mouth, no desire to drink, dysphoria, mania, delirium, even coma, bleeding, hemorrhage, hematosis, hematuria, shortening on menstrual cycle, excessive menstruation, red tongue, deep red tongue, rapid pulse, etc. So whenever you see heat inside the blood heat, you will see this type of function. Even this leads to coma. So if you see a blood cold, it refers to a pathological change marked by unsmooth blood circulation due to cold affecting the blood vessels. First you have seen the heat, and now you have seen the cold. Here cold affects the lack of circulation in the body. And it leads to the failure of young to warm the body. So overall, if we see today, if we see the pathogenic organ, we have to understand in the summary that the existence, first is the consumption, second is two parts. One is pathology, one is treatment. If you see the pathology part, you see how different things are consumed by each other. What does the evil factors they predominate each other? How predominancy of young over in dictatorial quality, what we say. If you predominate means if you dominate the other, if you dominate the other, how diseases are created. Even if in dominates the young, diseases are created. Young dominates the young, diseases are created. They reduce the reduction of healthy energy in the body. Whenever there is a reduction of healthy energy in the body, you suffer from a disease. And various factors are there from the blood, and various factors enters inside the blood, which creates another type of disease. So there is nothing great inside understanding it. You just understand a very simple thing. One consumes the other. One consumption of each other only creates deficiency inside the body. Now, when you say about the blood deficiency, you will see that segmentation is one part. Cold heat, cold blood, pure blood, hemorrhages, and all this. If you study properly, you will understand the various manifestation of the disease. If you understand this various manifestation of the disease, you understand that very suitable is the consumption of each other, and this consumption of each other only leads to beautiful creation of a disease. Now, in this creation of a disease, if you create a barricade of your acupuncture needles, and if your selection is proper, your diagnosis is proper, you understood without proper diagnosis, what are you doing? You are not diagnosing a patient. You are saying it's in da 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 da. But if you understand this diagnosis, the pathogenesis of a disease, how disease is created, developed, and transferred, and how it flares up, at what stage it flares up, and how long it will go, if you understand this, all these things, treatment of a patient is very easy. So from tomorrow, we'll go to the meridian points. We have explained you about many things today about the pulse, what do you call, the pathogenesis, and the first chapter. From first chapter to the 11th chapter, we have completed. We have completed two methods, most important part of this chapter. One was the basic fundamentals, yin and yang, and now from this yin and yang, the variations of yin and yang inside the body creates a disease. And this is what we understood. Now you can put up your questions. We raise up all one after another. One at a time, okay? One person at a time. We'll open the mute box.
इसको खोले
सबको खोल दो.
प्रकाश एक एक करके
नहीं नहीं खोल दो सबको.
सबको खोलने से सब बहुत आवाज आएगा
आने दो.
एक एक करके प्रकाश
Only one person will speak.
Prakash Jain is currently unmuted now. Prakash Jain speak. Ask
Prakash Jain, you want to ask anything?
नो सर, थैंक यू.
पूछना चाहते हो?
नहीं 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 कुछ नहीं.
समझ में आ गया ये बात?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल सर.
ठीक है. नेक्स्ट आशान
बहुत
मोहम्मद.
अच्छा.
हो गया. Ashan, questions please.
No questions.
Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Ahmedabad, your question.
Clear, sir.
Clear? समझ में आ गया? Very good. वो समझ में आ गया बेटा इतना complete start.
Next, खुर्शीद आलम.
हाँ खुर्शीद, question.
Yes, sir. I have a one single question.
Tell me.
Tell me goal of treatment in 3 steps: dominacy, repairing, and third one.
We are not saying about the treatment right now. We are only saying the pathogenesis, how a disease is created, how it is developed, and what is the classification of a flaring up of a disease, right? We are not teaching you the
Right.
prognosis part. We are only teaching you the disease part. For example, if there is a heat, more heat in the blood, you suffer from this type of symptoms, right?
Okay.
If they are cold
Yeah,
symptoms,
right.
if this type of symptoms occur inside the body, then you should understand it is the cold blood. That is, the more cold is inside the blood.
Yes.
If there is more heat inside the blood, you suffer from this type of disease. So whenever you see the symptoms like this, you should understand the classification of a disease comes from this stages, right? Understood what I said? Proceed. समझ में आई बात?
Yes, sir.
नहीं आई?
Yes, sir.
नहीं आया, चेहरा से लग रहा नहीं आया.
Clear. Clear.
Clear? Here I have only explained you
Yes,
about
sir.
the pathogenesis of a disease, right? I have not explained you about the
Right.
treatment part. I have only explained you how disease is created, how it is dominated, and what should you think while you see the symptom of a patient. You understood?
No, sir.
You समझ में आई बात? नहीं आने से
नहीं,
फोन पे
sir.
पूछ लेना. ठीक है. What is your name?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sukruti na? Yeah, putting your hands in your mouth. What is your name? क्या नाम है इसका? Sukrut. Sukrut. One in the 90. Madam, I am asking you. Yeah, putting your thumb in your mouth. I am asking you, any questions? Yes, you only. इसको बोलो, कोई सवाल है क्या इसका? क्या नाम है इसका? Sukrut, any question? Any question, madam? Next. Unmute है ना? Next. हाँ, इससे पूछा, क्या पूछ रहा है? ये कुछ नहीं पूछा. Sukrut, you have any questions? का ओरिजिनल नाम नहीं मालूम, पूछना पड़ेगा. अहमदाबाद हो गया. अब्दुल जलील, यहाँ से 1 मिनट. अब्दुल, Abdul, any questions?
No more question.
It is clear?
Clear.
My
Clear.
honey,
Yeah,
my wife, tell me, what is your
I understand.
question? Honey, question? Honey Khamgar, Hanumant. Pradeep, tell Hanumant to ask something. He's not asking. ये तो आंखें फाड़ के देख रहा, कुछ भी नहीं पूछ रहा. चलो अनम्यूट कर दो, फोन से बात कर लेंगे. प्रदीप, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Clear, Sadia?
Clear, sir. Yeah.
Rafat, your question? प्रकाश जी का हो गया
ये रहा सर
हो गया Raja Pratap, any question? 1 minute, 1 minute. Zero 1601, I don't know. Raja Pratap, 1 minute. Raja, you want to ask me something?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Clear?
No, sir. Clear, sir. Clear. Clear, sir.
When you
Clear.
see the slides, I think it is clear almost. If you study once, you will understand everything. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So the class is over for today. Tomorrow we'll study about the meridians. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you so much. Sir, yeah, good night.
Good night, sir.
सर कल कितने बजे
कल वो 5-6 बजे होगी बस
सर 5-6 बजे पेशेंट आ गया तो बाद में
डे आफ्टर टुमारो डे आफ्टर कल क्लास नहीं होगी डे आफ्टर टुमारो मंडे
ओके
सोमवार को होगा
सर इसका रिकॉर्डिंग तो देख सकते हैं ना
हाँ
रिकॉर्डिंग देख सकते हैं ना इसका
हाँ रिकॉर्डिंग हम दे देंगे
आज तो चला हैं
कल रिकॉर्डिंग देंगे कल परसों रिकॉर्डिंग भी दे देंगे चलो भाई गुड नाइट थैंक यू सो मच प्रकाश जी